Welcome, everyone. I'm Tracy Fitzpatrick, and I'll be your moderator today. Thank you so much for joining us here at Netcom Learning, a market leader in promoting lifelong learning, training, and talent development solutions. We are very excited to host today's event, Gen AI First Look, AI and Machine Learning on Google Cloud. Presenting today's topic is Terumi Laskowski. Terumi is a Google Cloud authorized trainer and author holding more than 25 years of experience in IT. Her passion for cloud computing developed at a very early age. Being a teenager, she always showed her enthusiasm for understanding the technologies that make computers tick. This deep sense of curiosity on technology led her to achieve all the associate, professional, and specialty certifications and was recognized as an authorized instructor for various leading technology companies like Google Cloud and AWS. Now, please bear in mind that this is an overview of a very robust topic. We offer a collection of technical and business courses that can be tailored to your specific requirements. If you are interested in a further discussion, you can make an appointment with our learning consultants through our website at netcomlearning.com. Today's session is also being recorded, so you'll get free access to the recording in the next 24 hours via email. Netcom Learning helps customers build innovative learning organizations by achieving a smarter workforce, adapting to change, and driving growth. We do this with a broad catalog of offerings, developing customized learning plans, and our global delivery capabilities. Since 1998, we have been empowering organizations with our managed learning services to help them reach optimal performance results and address challenges. We have 9 practice areas in which we specialize. They encompass people, process, and technology training. Today's presentation is from the AI and data practice areas. Netcom Learning offers a comprehensive training portfolio of courses for the topic being covered today. Our upcoming classes include various trainings on the given courses. You can also access a variety of marketing assets, such as the free training and blogs, by clicking on the available event handout. These offerings can be found with a simple search on our website at netcomlearning.com. Today's session will cover the groundbreaking capabilities of AI and ML on Google Cloud and their transformative potential. This masterclass has been designed to discover Google Cloud's cutting-edge AI solutions and the pivotal role played by generative AI in empowering data professionals. In addition, participants will gain practical insights on how to integrate these advanced AI technologies into their workflows, enhancing efficiency and innovation in their respective fields. And now I would like to give you a quick overview of the logistics before we get started. To begin with, you do have the option to view in full screen by clicking on the full screen button on the right side of the GoToWebinar viewer. Simply hit the escape key to exit the full screen. Everyone has been muted except for our presenters. Feel free to submit any questions you have for the presenters here in the questions pane, and we will address them at the end of the session. And to get the best out of today's events, we've included the slides, courses we talk about, and marketing assets in the handouts section of your GoToWebinar viewer. You may refer to them at any time to get a better understanding of today's topic. And we do realize that some of you may have to leave early and want to let you know that as you do leave the session today, you will be presented with a short survey. We would like to request for you to take a quick moment to participate in that survey. Your feedback really helps us understand your learning experience and improve our future sessions for you. The survey answers are measured on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 representing outstanding and 1 representing poor. And now I'd like to pass this over to our trainer to present today's topic. Hey, Terumi, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. We will be talking on the topic of Gen AI First Look, AI and Machine Learning on Google Cloud. My name is Terumi Laskowski, and I'm a Google Cloud Authorized Trainer. It is my pleasure today to be presenting to you this very exciting topic of Gen AI. All right, so let's take a look at the agenda for today. The first item is Introduction to AI and ML on Google Cloud. Obviously, AI stands for Artificial Intelligence. ML stands for Machine Learning. The second topic is Exploring Data to AI Technologies and Tools. So we'll discuss what in the world is a data to AI, right? And then all the tools that are available in Google Cloud. The third topic is Harnessing Generative AI Capabilities. What is it that you can do? What are the possibilities of using Gen AI? Topic number 4 is choosing the right options for AI development. Of course, specifically, what is available in Google Cloud. And then last but not least, we'll be talking about the fifth topic, which is building machine learning models with Vertex AI. Now, Vertex AI is a unified platform for you to create AI solutions on Google Cloud. And then I'll be open to any questions and answers after the webinar. All right. Thank you so much. All right, now let's move on. So let's take a look and see. Let's visit what Google Cloud looks like, right? They're usually called Google Cloud Platform. Okay. So I'm going to click on that link, and voila. Right? Here is Google Cloud on the web. And if we were to take a look at just a little bit down here, okay, or where it says, hey, build with cloud platform designed for developers in AI. Look at that, right? So obviously Google is putting a lot of effort into promoting AI on their platform. And today's webinar is going to cover some of the topics here that's presented. So at the top, we have AI and machine learning, as you can see there. Right? There are 4 topics there, but I'm going to cover in general what this is all about. Then all the AI and machine learning services are riding on top of Google Cloud's platform. So the platform will be compute. Those are basically what crunches data, right? Like CPU, the RAM, specialized hardware, etc. So that's a compute right there. Okay, and storage. Storage is used to store massive amounts of data that you need for machine learning and also for installing operating systems. So there's storage. And databases. Now, some type of databases are very, very useful for creating your AI solutions. So we'll be talking some of the databases. And then there are other components within the infrastructure. All right, so let's get back into the presentation material. So here we are. Now let's hit the first topic, which is Introduction to AI and Machine Learning on Google Cloud. Right? So to kind of touch on this topic, let's talk about the basics of AI. Okay, and what is it? So what I have here is, hey, just a general definition of what AI is. So basically, what AI is a computer system that kind of mimics the human being, right? The kind of things that we as humans do. So for example, do we learn? I hope yes, right? Do we reason? Yes, I hope. And solve problems. And we perceive things such as vision and understand language, right? And you probably heard about natural language processing. So that's part of this, language understanding on the computer systems part. So there you go. So that would be a general definition of what an AI is. Okay? Now, I've broken down in this AI into several categories for you so that we can classify them and talk about them as a group. So on top left, that is the area of machine learning. So machine learning, there are different types of machine learning called supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. So those are the major categories of machine learning. Now, I've added something called deep learning. Deep learning has a very close association with generative AI. So I put it there. Now, a lot of people think that deep learning is a separate category within the machine learning. Well, kind of, sort of, because deep learning is actually a subcategory of supervised learning as well as unsupervised learning as well as reinforcement learning. Okay, so I have another graphics for you to give you a little bit more detail on that. Alrighty? And then we have a knowledge and representation and reasoning. So that's another category. In fact, this actually is a very dear and close to my heart, because this is the way I first got acquainted with artificial intelligence, was through this particular genre. And in this genre, there is the expert systems, there's case-based reasoning, and there is a semantic networks, right? But the one that I'm actually familiar with is expert systems. So when I was in college, I was assisting a professor, and he was creating an expert system in global business negotiations, right? So this is expert system is where the computer system mimics the expert in a field. So in this case, it was expert in global negotiations. Then the expert system is a bunch of rules. So if your opponent in negotiation says X, what do you do as an expert? You say Y, type of stuff. So that's like a rule, right? So you have a bunch of rules. And I was actually helping him gather rules when an expert is facing a Japanese negotiator. Okay. Anyway, it was very interesting, but it was in that particular number 2 genre. Then we have robotics, right? Third genre is robotics, such as navigation. I think of like a automatic car, right? Like Teslas, right? And you have manipulation, you have interactions, right? So these are, robotics genre. And then I have a catch-all genre, which is number 4, others. Okay, so others will have planning and scheduling, natural language processing, perception, etc. And then you may say, but wait a minute. I've heard natural language processing, but that was, under machine learning. Well, natural language processing can actually assist in, and you can combine them with the machine learning. So a lot of these categories are, you can mix them together. And natural language processing can actually stand on its own, or to be part of a machine learning project as well. Anyway, so that's just a general categories of AI. Okay? And then if we were to take a look at the timeline of how all this came to be and where we are at right now, it started way back when in 1950s, and it was pretty amazing for me to realize that the early neural networks started back in 1950s and 1970s. Now, when we're talking about neural network, this is where the scientist tries to see how we, the humans' brains work, right? So supposedly we have neurons. These neurons make connections, electrical connections. Some of the connections are strong connections. Some of the connections are weak connections, right? So you can strengthen certain connections. You can weaken connections. You can break connections. And this is a process of us learning and making associations, with things that we, learn in the process. Okay? So there you go. That's basically where it started. Then the expert system that I told you about, it was back in the 80s. And yeah, sure enough, it was back in the 80s when I was involved in that, as a student. Okay. And then in the 1990s, we have this massive rise of machine learning, right? So this is where we make the switch from, creating a bunch of rules to actually having the machine learn something, right? Which is a huge paradigm shift. Okay. And then you have the breakthrough in generative models, right? So that's back in 2000 and 2010. And this is where the deep learning became a very, very big deal. And then you have the generative adversarial network, various autoencoders, etc. So I'll have some examples of these types of Gen AI categories. Then look at us now, right? Back in 2010 to the present, we have the mainstream adoption and expansion of natural language processing, the Gen AI, right? ChatGPT, all that stuff, right? So it's like, oh my gosh, look at where we're at right now and the explosive growth. I mean, look at everything that we do. There's, Gen AI is like part of almost everything we do, and not just Gen AI, but machine learning in general. Anyway, so we live in very exciting times. So then let's go into machine learning. Okay, so who coined the term machine learning? Well, it was said to be that the term was coined by a person by the name of Arthur Samuels back in 1959. Now, he is well known for teaching a machine to play checkers, right? So that's where we started. And so machine learning is actually a subset of artificial intelligence, as I already mentioned. So it allows computers to learn from the data that we collect, okay? And then over time, improve on performance, that is, improve on its learning, expand on its learning, without having any kind of a traditional sense of programming in there. Okay, so it will involve use of algorithms though. So algorithms are like some like equations, okay, or statistical systems, okay, and to identify and look for and identify patterns in the data that we present to it, and make predictions based on that pattern, right? So you give a new data, it gives you like a prediction. So, well, we think based on the data that we have that I have learned, I think the answer is going to be X type of stuff. There you go. So then the part of the very interesting thing with Gen AI is the deep learning, right? Because Gen AI, as I mentioned, is a part of deep learning. Okay, so deep learning is a subset of machine learning that uses deep neural networks. Okay, so deep neural networks is in contrast to shallow neural networks. Now, most of the machine learning that is done is using neural networks. Okay, but the difference is how deep is it? That is, how many neurons, how many layers of neurons do we have? Okay, so for things like looking for pattern recognition, classification, regression problems, these are the traditional machine learning. We use something called the shallow neural networks. Okay, but for things like Gen AI, we're looking for more complex relationship, intricate data representation. We need to have a lot more neurons connecting with each other. So this is basically the idea of deep neural networks. So this is where we see such as speech recognition, image perception, okay, and natural language processing takes a lot more neurons, and that is in the domain of the deep learning or deep neural networks. Then finally, now we come to what is generative AI. Okay, so the generative AI is a subset of deep learning, already, which is generative. That is, generative means it generates. That is, it creates something, right? So it creates brand new content from the data that it was used to train. Okay, so it's not just spitting back something, or it's not just recognizing patterns, or it's not just simply analyzing and classifying and say, this is a cat, this is not a cat, right? But instead, generative AI actually creates new data, new text, new image, new sounds, new music. Okay, so some of the examples would be, can you create a new poem? But it has to know what a poem is. So you give them lots of examples of poems, and then it can actually generate new poems, for example, new blog articles, perhaps. It will even be able to write programming code. So that's already in general use. It can generate images. So, for example, for this slide, this beautiful picture here, that was generated. I used Gen AI for this, right? And then, I hear about new music being created using Gen AI, even mixing genres, right? Like classical music and jazz, and mix them together, and you tell Gen AI, hey, come up with something, great musical production here. Okay, so there you go. There are some ideas. So to summarize it, all these relationships. So this is how I kind of broke it down. So on the left, you have the machine learning. Okay, then machine learning breaks down into three major types of machine learning, which is supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. Okay, then within each of these categories, you have the deep learning and non-deep learning. So we'll concentrate on the deep learning. And within deep learning, you have generative and non-generative type of solutions, right, and techniques. Okay, now I have all kinds of words here, so generative learning, under supervised learning, under unsupervised learning, under reinforcement learning. I will cover some of these and give you some examples later on in the slide. Okay, so here we go. To summarize it all, what is Gen AI? Well, you have AI, and then within AI, you have machine learning, and within machine learning, you have deep learning, and within deep learning, you have generative AI. There you go. So I hope you catch that. Now, when you talk about AI, a lot of people talk about models, right? So what's a model? Well, model in this diagram is the f of x, right? So fx, so that will be the model, okay? And the x is the input into the model, and then the y is the output, basically, okay? So this could be just a regular straight machine learning model, or it could be generative AI model. So those are the terminologies. Okay, and sometimes we talk about something called inference. Okay, so the inference is actually the process of applying a trained model, the model that learned something, to new data to generate an output. So that's basically the process of something called inference. Okay. So on the last slide here on this thought is the AI model development. So now we know what a model is. So how do you develop a model? Okay. So basically, I broke it down into 4 major steps. So one step is, hey, you have a problem that you want to solve. This is pretty crucial stage because this is where you decide, is AI a a proper solution to solving this problem? Because not everything is an AI problem, okay? Or not everything can be solved using AI. Some of the problems can be solved using straightforward, traditional programming. And if you could solve the problem using traditional programming, I think one should do so, okay? But because they're not overlapping, that is usually the kind of problems that can be solved using traditional programming is not really the kind of problem that you should solve using AI, and vice versa. Okay, but once you choose, yes, AI is a solution, then you choose the algorithm. Okay, so choosing the appropriate algorithm or technique, right? Depending on the problem, you may be using a straightforward traditional machine learning, rule-based logic like expert systems, or some other types of method like perhaps Gen AI. Then, once you choose the algorithm, then you say, okay, we're going to train the model. Remember, this is machine learning, so the machine has to learn. So learning is by training. Okay, so training or development. So machine learning, this involves data training, right? So for other AI types, it might involve like setting rules. Remember, for expert systems, okay, or perhaps even programming for expert systems as well. Okay, then last but not least, you'll get the resulting model. There you go. You have the brain, right? That's been trained. Or perhaps greater systems, then this is the final product, at least at this stage, that can be used and just release it out to the world so that now you can feed new data or new requests, and then it'll come up with the proper reply for that. So there you go. So that is the basics of AI. Okay, so now let's talk about how Google Cloud supports ML and AI. Now, Google has been involved in AI and ML for a long, long time. In fact, even before AI and ML, they have been a technology leader and innovator in the area of handling massive amounts of data, or what we call big data. And with machine learning, big data is always going to be an issue. Like where do you put the data? How do you process data in a very efficient manner? In a very performant manner. But if we were to concentrate on the AI ML technologies, Google, you could see the example of the kind of thing that they've been involved in. So if you have used Python, let's say for doing some kind of a machine learning problem, you're probably familiar with the very popular library, the Python library called scikit-learn. Okay? So Google created that back in 2007. Also, the Google created something called TensorFlow, which is a deep learning framework, and that was back in 2015. You see, then they came out with the core of what the Gen AI model utilizes, which is called the transformer. Now, transformer involves 2 other concepts called encoders and decoders. Now, encoder is about understanding the input that you give, and then the decoder is to creating the output. Okay. Then we have the new version of TensorFlow, TensorFlow 2.0, which came out in 2019 with the enhanced functionalities. Now, if we were to look at the models that they have created a lot, right? So if you look at this, so you have something called BERT, okay, which stands for bidirectional encoder representations, okay, from transformers, right? So remember we talked about the transformer. Okay, so it was really at the time a groundbreaking model which Google introduced back in 2018. Okay, and unlike a traditional model that reads text sequentially, BERT actually uses something called the bidirectional approach to understand the context of words in all directions. Right, this makes it really not just one direction, right? From start to finish, no, right, from all directions. So this makes it really exceptionally powerful for things like questions and answering, sentiment analysis, language inference, right? So it's really, it was pretty groundbreaking. Then they have something called Lambda, okay? And Lambda is a language model for dialogue applications. It's actually a state-of-the-art model by Google to actually enhance conversational AI. Okay. Then we have PaLM, right? So PaLM stands for Pathways Language Model. It's a large-scale language model, LLM, developed by Google, right? And actually uses something called a pathway infrastructure to train on diverse data sets. And it actually does improve its understanding and generalization of human language. Okay. Then we have Gemini, right? So Gemini is an advanced AI model developed by Google DeepMind, and it was designed to integrate what's called multimodal capabilities. So multimodal means that it can handle text, it can handle images, and it can handle different types of data input. Okay. And then we have the Gemma. So the Gemma is a specialized AI model designed for generating personalized recommendations and insights. So there you have it. Then some of the products or services that's offered by Google. So we have something called AutoML. AutoML has been incorporated into Vertex AI, but AutoML is a tool for training custom machine learning models with absolutely minimal amount of code and making it very, very easy to use for regular folks, right? Like myself, right? And then we have the AI platform, which is and also the Vertex AI actually is an improvement on that, but it's a comprehensive suite for end-to-end machine learning workflow. And then we have the Vertex AI, right? So the Vertex AI is a unified platform, right, for building, deploying, and scaling machine learning models, right? So it does integrate something called MLOps. The MLOps is a machine learning operations. So MLOps is a workflow that involves, once you deploy the model to actually monitor the model to make sure it is still relevant. So you actually do operate on the model, and if it let's say the machine learning becomes obsolete, for example, because the context have changed greatly, you may need to retrain the model, right? So this is a process that will allow you to mostly automate the whole process, which is usually called the ML ops. Okay. Anyway, so Vertex AI involves that, is included in that. And there you go. And then we have Gen AI on Vertex AI. So now Vertex AI has now added capability to do a advanced generative AI into the unified model. Okay. So we'll be talking about specifically about this, and also you'll see a hands-on example on the Vertex AI. All right, so AI ML in Google Cloud. The architecture of the AI ML in Google Cloud is this, right? So you have the state-of-the-art models, as I introduced to you, right? So they have the models, including the LLMs, okay, large language models, okay. Unified data to AI platform, okay. So it integrates everything that you need to create the AI solution, all the way from data collection and processing to training and analytics. Okay, and then you have the end-to-end development and ML ops productivity. So I've talked about ML ops. So you have the end-to-end development. So it's a comprehensive development and practices, right? So that's for productivity. And then you have the efficient and scalable infrastructure. So Google Cloud is, if not nothing, it's actually about having a very available, stable, robust infrastructure. So there is high performance scalable infrastructure that you could put your AI workload on top of. There you go. All right, everyone. So let's go ahead and talk about the next topic, which is exploring data to AI technologies and tools. Here we go. So what in the world is this data to AI? So the data to AI describes the process of how in AI you need to first get the data, right? That will be basis for your training. So you have to be able to collect the data, but after you collect the data, you have to ingest that is bring it into the system, and then pre-processing them, sometime for cleaning the data, cleansing the data, reorganizing the data, restructuring the data, whatever you need to do to have it so that your AI process can move forward. Then you have to store that data. And, depending upon the type of training that you want to do, this storage can be enormous. Okay, so you store the data. Then, using that data, you will analyze and visualize the data. And some of the machine learning processes, you, the human, have to look at the data and see the pattern and choose the type of algorithm that you'll be using. So this is basically for something like a traditional machine learning type of solutions. Then, after you have decided that on what path to take in the AI algorithm, then the next step, number 4, is to use the AI ML training, right? And train the model and to create the model yourself. So there you go. That's starting from the data, right? Like the raw ingredients for your AI solution. And then you have the end product in step number 4. So that's basically what a data to AI process is all about. Okay. So now let's talk about the building blocks that supports this data to AI process. So let's first talk about the infrastructure. So the infrastructure is what you see here. So I have here the global infrastructure, which is the Google's cloud's mainstay of providing storage, compute, etc. That's a global infrastructure. And they have infrastructure globally. Then on top of that, 2 main types of building blocks are compute and storage. So the compute offers a virtual machines, containers, serverless type of compute platforms. So this is basically about you are crunching data, you're crunching numbers. Then storage, this is where you store the data, right? For when you ingest the data, and also for the data that's pre-processing, maybe you need to maintain the archive of the data. So there are many places where you requires large amounts of storage. Then on top of that runs your AI products and services. There you go. So these are the building blocks, basically. Now, looking at the global infrastructure, so this is a map that I got from the Google Cloud. So if you take a look at it, so here's the link. So let's see if we go there. Look at this, right? So here is the map that I actually took. So there it is, okay? So those are what's called regions. So these are global locations where the Google has presence, okay? And if you look at the network, look at all these connections, right, between these regions. So this is what Google offers. And right now, here is the statistical information about Google's infrastructure. 40 regions. Zones are, you could call them sub-regions, okay, and they're there for redundancy purposes. Anyway, so it's just massive. All right, so let's go back to the slides. There you go. And let's look at the next building block, which is the compute. Okay, so like I said, compute is where data is crunched, where you're processing the data. And the services here on the right is they're offering. So one is a compute engine. So the compute engine is the name of the service for virtual machines. Okay. Now, Google actually created what is called Kubernetes these days. Okay, it used to be called Borg, but now it's called Kubernetes. It's open source now, but Google created it. Okay, and it's a container orchestration tool. So you could be running things inside Kubernetes using, let's say, Docker containers. App Engine, it is a managed PaaS solution that is platform as a service that actually allows you to run your code in their runtime engine in their environment. And then you have Cloud Function. This is a very special type of function where it is called event-driven. So you have certain events that triggers programs to run or the applications to run. Okay, and basically the platform is serverless. So serverless means serverless. You don't have servers. Of course you have servers. It's just that we don't have to manage the servers. Google will manage the server for us. And then Cloud Run is a serverless platform for deploying and running containerized applications, right? So that's the difference. Cloud Function and Cloud Code Run both are serverless, but Cloud Functions are more specialized in event-driven type of services, whereas the Cloud Run is for running your containerized application in a serverless fashion. Then let's take a look at storage. All right, so next let's take a look at the database and storage. Okay, so storage, obviously, machine learning, like I said, takes large amounts of storage. So the very first one is cloud storage. Cloud storage is a object storage. So object storage means that everything that you save or store in the service looks like a blob, right? No, not the green thing, right? Blob is a binary large object. So it's huge and they're binary. So that means it could be image, it could be executable, it could be text, it could be anything. That's the strength of the object storage. So that's cloud storage. Big table. Big table is a NoSQL database, right? So it's pretty much sitting opposite to a relational database, okay? And this is for large analytical workload. Then we have the Cloud SQL. This is, once again, a fully managed relational database, which is compatible with MySQL, open source, PostgreSQL, open source, and MS SQL Server. Then we have a Spanner. So Spanner is, once again, it's a relational database, but it is for globally distributed. And this is actually very unique in that although it will handle relational databases, it can be horizontally scalable. So, if you're interested in that, if you're a database person, check it out. This is really, wonderful technology. And then we have a Firestore. It is a scalable NoSQL database for mobile, web, and server development, right? Okay. Then last but not least, BigQuery. It is a fully managed serverless, so you don't have to worry about the servers, data warehousing solution. So data warehousing usually means it can handle huge amounts of data, okay? And it is normally based on relational database concepts so that you can actually use SQL queries, okay? And there you go, BigQuery. This is a pretty humongous resource for machine learning. So looking at the, all right, so now that we talk about all these storage solutions, which one's which? Like which one do we choose? Okay, so here it is. I've kind of made a little graph for you. Okay, so choosing storage is basically you choose between transactional and analytical, right? So transactional is transaction processing, and analytical is usually less demanding on speed, but more on how well can I dig down deep into the queries and gaining insights. Okay, so if we're looking at transactional, we have to divide up and say, okay, is it going to be SQL based, that is relational based, or no SQL? That usually means non-relational. Okay, so if it's SQL based, there is the Cloud SQL or Spanner. Okay, so those are two SQL type of databases. And if we're looking at NoSQL, Firestore, it supports transaction processing. By the way, commonly the NoSQL servers do not support transaction. So the fact that the Firestore supports transaction is pretty unique. Now looking at the analytical, once again, we could break it into SQL and NoSQL. So if it's SQL, BigQuery, hands down, data warehousing. NoSQL, let me see here. NoSQL, yeah, sorry, big table. Okay, so that is the NoSQL solution. Okay. So there you go. So this is basically a diagram on how you choose the storage. All right, so let's take a look now at the data to AI ingestion processing, right? Ingestion. So data comes in from many locations and in many forms. Some come in batch, some comes in streaming. Okay, so Google Cloud actually has these following services. One is PubSub. Okay, so PubSub is a very reliable, right? It's also scalable messaging service as well as ingestion of streaming data. Okay, so that's the important part. Okay, and then we have a data flow. It is a stream and batch data processing service that will do ETL. So ETL stands for extract, transform, and load. Okay, So if you have to do processing as the data comes in, yeah, data flow is good for you. Data proc manage Hadoop and Spark. So Hadoop and Spark are traditionally ways to process big data. Okay? So Hadoop will be able to take the big data processing and separate them out to smaller pieces, and then process them separately, and then in the end bring them together. It's called MapReduce. So usually Hadoop and MapReduce goes together. Then we have Spark. So Spark is a processing engine that runs in memory, so it's very, very fast. And then we have a cloud data fusion. So it's a visual data integration for building up ETL pipelines. So, ETL can become very complex. So this cloud data fusion will make it, relatively simple task for you. The next one here is the AI storage. So we've already talked about it. Okay. So, but it's a piece, right? So we're just going to move forward with that. And then the analytics, right? So the analytics is, hey, can you get insights from this data? And normally, if you're trying to get insights and if they're relational database related, then it's usually data warehouse. So for Google Cloud, the data warehouse is BigQuery. So we've already talked about BigQuery, so I'm not going to go too much into detail. But we haven't talked about Looker. So the Looker is a BI tool, right? That's commonly called. So it's a business intelligence tool and data visualization. So it's usually great for end users who want to just go ahead and do their own searching and gathering data and drilling down into getting business insights. Okay, so it does allow for users to build customized visualization and then create insights and share those insights amongst the groups. And then last but not least, we have the AI ML tools and solutions. So here we are going to go over some of these a little bit later on in the presentation, but for AI development and AI solutions, right? So these are the two major categories on this slide. So for AI development, what are the AI development tools? I've mentioned some of these before, but let me go ahead and reiterate. AutoML, okay, this is usually for predictive AI that you can create AI solutions with very little code. Vertex AI Studio, it is a unified platform for creating AI solutions. Model Garden, these are where you get to choose all the different types of models. It's a repository of pre-trained models, right? And we've actually covered some of the pre-trained models already in the previous slides. And then we have a workbench. So the Vertex AI Workbench it's actually a collaborative team working environment for data scientists and machine learning engineers where they could collaborate and work together on solutions. And then we have a Colab Enterprise. So Colab Enterprise is an enterprise version of Google Colab. And if you know Google Colab, it is a support for security and integration with enterprise workflow during development. So it's for coding purposes. Then there are a number of solutions that are pretty much like pre-packaged that you could go ahead and tweak and use for your own use. And here are four. So one is a document AI. So document AI will help you to extract structured data, right? Structured data usually looks like a database data. But it's coming from an unstructured documents, right? So that's pretty good, right? So you have an unstructured documents or data that you can actually extract structured data from that. Okay, so it will help you to, it'll use AI to automate document processing and extracting necessary data, such as processing invoices, processing contracts, and forms, and they're very, very accurate. The second one is the contact center. So the contact center is for customer interaction, customer support. It does provide a virtual agents for AI-powered insights for contact center personnel. Okay, it pretty much automates a customer support queries, and it does assist human agents, with real-time recommendations on how to work with the end users. The Vertex AI Search for Retail. This is basically provides advanced search capabilities for retail type of applications. And it does use AI to improve search, the relevance of the search results, and also to personalize the results for the person that is asking that question. Some of the examples here would be, maybe a product search that is a little bit enhanced, as well as a the recommendation features. Let's say for like a e-commerce platform. There you go. And then last but not least, there is the healthcare data engine. The role here is to integrate and analyze healthcare data, right? Okay, and it does provide a real comprehensive view of the patient data for making good decisions. And so what it does is it aggregates data from all kinds of sources to support clinical, analytics and for personalized medicine purposes. So there you have it. So if you are looking for these solutions that are, they're pretty much built for you already, you could always go for the AI solutions. All right, so I do have pages for each and every one of them. Okay, so here, and I do have a links to them, so hopefully you'll get the presentation material, and if you want to delve deeper into each of these options, you're free to do so. So document AI, right? Turn dark, unstructured documents into actionable data. There you go, right? So structured data from unstructured data is how I explained it. Okay, so contact center, right? Automate customer support queries and assist in the human agents, right? So we talked about that as well. Next one is Vertex AI Search for Retail. Okay, so this used to be called Discovery AI. Okay, but it will actually provide you with Google quality search. Wouldn't that be nice? It's like a Google engine just for you and for your customers to browse through and recommend some digital data, and hopefully it will increase conversion as far as the marketing is concerned into customers purchasing your products. And last but not least, the healthcare data engine. And of course, when it comes to health, compliance is so important. Security is so important. So this is a secure and compliant, and it's on top of that, it is a fully managed service for taking the data in, transforming and storing healthcare data. And as you see, a list of compliance that this is in compliant with. All right, so that covers this part of the presentation. Okay, so now let's talk about what can we do with Gen AI? How do you harness the power of Gen AI? I'm just going to show you the slide that I used before, the part about what is Gen AI. So remember what we discussed. What is it? It creates new content from the data that was used to train it. Okay. Now, I found a nice list of Gen AI landscape that is about everything that you could probably do with Gen AI. The source is from a pixelplex.io. So if you're interested in that, please go ahead and go to that site. But here, Gen AI, generating text, generating video, generating image, code, music, speech, 3D. And when they mention 3D, they're mentioning 3D objects. So let's take a look, right? So text. Let's see, creating email. Okay. Translation. Yeah, news articles and summaries, right? So summaries is a pretty popular field within Gen AI. Videos, creating videos, editing videos. That would be nice. And look at that, VR and AR. So virtual reality, augmented reality. Image, marketing illustrations, fashions and apparel. Code, writing code, right? Programming, refactoring, optimization, so fixing code. Okay, music, composing music, virtual instruments. Look at that. Speech, text to speech. You've probably seen that before. Voice cloning. Oh boy. Okay, and 3D object modeling. I've actually been kind of interested in doing this because I have a 3D printer that I would like to have certain 3D files for. So I've been kind of working in this area too. But anyway, so let me give you some concrete examples of how Gen AI can be leveraged. So the first one here is a use case number one, using CGANs, conditional generative adversarial network. Okay, so in this case, fashion brands can actually use this to generate new clothing designs based on the current trends. Okay, so for example, a customer could specify a color or color scheme, style, like vintage, modern, and the CGANs could produce a variety of unique clothing design that actually fit these conditions. Okay, so there you go. The next one is supervised autoencoders. This one's kind of interesting. They're all interesting, but this one I'm just kind of especially interested in. So this one is a supervised autoencoder used for photo restoration. So as you can see, you see the black and white behind the scenes, and this is simulating that. Look, we have this old photograph that has been damaged to a degree. Certain parts has to be recreated, and then using the supervised autoencoder, it will fill in the places to complete the picture as well as enhancing the image, right? So there it is. So that would be another one. So can you think of some something that you could leverage using something like this? The next one is GANs. So with the generative adversarial network, the example here is a real estate visualization. Okay, so the real estate agent could use GANs, as you say here, right, to create a before and after type of picture. Says, oh, if you want to do this kind of architectural modification, this is possibly how it's going to look, type of stuff, right? So you can put an image of the current one and then specify a desired change, and then GANs could actually create a brand new one of how it might look like. Nice, right? Okay, and I actually think that these things already exist, right? And then let's take a look at the variational autoencoder. So this one here is an example of an interactive video game content generation. Okay, so if you are a game developer that you want to always keep game fresh, right, by adding more actors and players in this, so the models, you can use something like VAE to create additional characters or environments, okay, that fits the current theme of the game. Okay, so there you go. So that could be one way of doing it. Now, if you recall, I mentioned something about music before. So here is a use case number 5 for using unsupervised autoencoder. So this one here is for converting genres. Okay, so here, let's say you have a classical symphony and you ask this to convert that into jazz format. So it's like totally different genre altogether. But given the examples of both, generative AI could create a brand new combination of genre. Okay, so there you go. And let's take, for example, use case number 6, GALE, right? Generative Adversarial Limitation Learning, GALE. This one here is the robotics autonomous vehicle training. Okay, so here you could train these vehicles by imitating expert human driving patterns, right? So I'm not sure if you've seen these, but I've seen these YouTube. By the way, just to give you context, I'm horrible at parallel parking, so I'm always looking for how do people that actually do these things, parallel parking like crazy magician, how do they do that, right? So I'm always looking at the YouTube videos on some rules that they give you, some tips that they give you, right, as to when you're supposed to cut the handles which way. But let's say you have an expert like that, and you have, you can have something like a robot. I'm sure Tesla will do it too, that will imitate these expert human drivers, right, in their patterns. Right? So there you go. Model, basically what it does is model does what I'm doing, is to observe human drivers, right, and then learn to mimic their actions. I'm just not good at it. I think the GALE probably will do a better job at it. So there you go, right? So these are some ways that you can leverage Gen AI. Right? But you have to kind of think, so was that it? Right? I mean, she just kind of gave like 6 examples. Is that all there is? And the answer is happily no. Right? The answer is no. Because you see, Gen AI isn't really about the techniques and models that I've just specified. It's really about what is it doing in the end, right? So is the model generating new content? Is that doing, or in that it is mimicking some of the input from the data that it is based on? You see? Does it produce something that's new? And it doesn't look like some kind of patchwork, but it actually like wow, this is a thing. It's a coherent output. Okay, and is it capable of creating something that did not previously exist before? something in a meaningful manner that understands the context, right? So given certain context, can you create something that is brand new, that is meaningful? So if you're looking at these behaviors, then you don't actually have to really, limit yourself and say, oh, Gen AI must be using these patterns. No, right? You can always go beyond that. So take, for example, something like, GPT, right? So generative pre-trained transformers, GPT doesn't really fit into, these six examples that I gave you. Okay. But if you look at the end product, what is it doing? Is it creating something that is context aware, that is new content, and yet still mimics certain, human behaviors? And I would say, with the experience that I have with, working with these GPTs, I would definitely say yes, for sure. Okay. So, but if you want to see exactly, specifically Google customer stories in leveraging Gen AI, then I have a great site for you here. So let's take a look. I'm going to click into that. So this is the Google Cloud's Gen AI customer stories. So if you like to see real stories of using Google Cloud, this will be the place to go. Okay, so here it is. Some of the companies I'm sure you recognize. There you go. Okay, so check it out when you have some time. Wow, look at them. There you are. And generative AI use cases as well. So you could download these documents. But I think this probably is a good place to take a short break. I think we've been talking probably close to an hour right now. So let's go and take a 5-minute break. And after 5 minutes, we'll return and we'll get started right away. Thank you.
Sure, we are now going to take a 5-minute break, but before we do that, we are going to launch a quick poll that we want to invite you to participate in. Doing so helps us know how we can better serve you by telling us who might be interested in more information or in taking some additional training. In addition, we have a lot more informative webinars coming up, so please go to netcomlearning.com/webinars in order to register.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Okay. All right, the next section is about choosing the right options for AI development. And I was thinking how to approach this. And perhaps we could start with a decision point, a direction that you choose right at the beginning. So here, if you have a particular problem to solve, one can make a decision point and say, hey, is this going to be a traditional machine learning type of a problem? Is it something like a predictive ML for forecasting some numbers, classifying some group of data, performing regression analysis, right? So that could be one way to approach a particular problem. Another way is to look and say, is this something that requires deep learning slash Gen AI for creating new content such as text, images, audio, and other type of data. So then let's say you choose one of these. But either way you choose, you could still use this tool called the Vertex AI. All right, so what is Vertex AI? Well, we've already mentioned Vertex AI several times already in this workshop. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look and see what Google says about what Vertex AI is all about. Here we go. Okay, so this is the Vertex AI's page. As you can see, it says, hey, what is Vertex AI? It's a machine learning developer tool for data scientists, engineers, right? And take it from the ideation to deployment. So it's from the beginning to all the way to the end of the process, right? Then you can see all the different types of features that are included in Vertex AI. Obviously, these will change as Vertex AI grows, but you can always come to this page and see all the available tools for data to AI model. All right, let's go back into the presentation material. So there it is, right? So you could actually do development of a traditional AI, machine learning, as well as Gen AI as well. So it's very, very versatile platform. Now, this is a extract from a Vertex AI's visualized architecture. So let's take a look and see what this says here. Okay, so this is Vertex AI. And notice that at the very top layer, this is something that we've already talked about. Vertex AI integrates AutoML, right? And if you recall, AutoML is a way for you to use very little code or no code to create and solve AI problems. Okay, so AutoML, let's see here, AutoML. You could use AutoML for vision, as you see, video, language, etc., etc. Right? It allows you to build custom machine learning models with absolutely minimal coding effort. Okay, and it does support a variety of data types, including images, video, text, tabular data, forecast, as you see. So those are the data that is supported. Okay, so the benefit here is you can quickly create models for these types of, let's say, classification, perhaps language translation, demand forecasting, using very, very intuitive user interface. Okay. Then we have the second layer, which is experiment, train, and deploy. So in the experimentation, you have things like data labeling, model builder SDK, and TensorBoard. Right? So data labeling talks about, it's a service that actually helps you to start labeling your training data. Okay? So labeling is a pretty very extensive work, right? And most of the time it's a heavily manual work. Now, some part of the labeling could be done using AI, but traditionally a lot of the labeling is done by humans. Okay, so you can go ahead and use their services. Now, Model Building SDK is a software development kit for building and managing machine learning models. Okay, so it does provide API and tools for actually model training and evaluation as well. Okay, and TensorBoard is actually a visualization toolkit for monitoring ML experiments. Okay, so it does track and visualize metrics. And when you are evaluating models, you use metrics such as loss, accuracy, and other types of performance. So you can actually track that using the TensorBoard. Now, in the training side, obviously training is a big deal. Okay, and NAS stands for Neural Architecture Search. So this is a very much automated process for designing very optimal neural network architecture. Doesn't that sound great? And the Vizier is a Google's black box optimization service, right? So it optimizes hyperparameters for machine learning models. Okay, so in machine learning, if you do it, you know that there are two major types of parameters. So there are parameters that gets adjusted on each run of the training process, and there is something called the hyperparameter, which are parameters that you adjust every time you stop the model for training and adjust these parameters to see if you can actually get a better result. Okay, so there you go. And then you have the deploy, and the prediction is a service for serving trained ML models so that you can make predictions. And it will handle both real-time inference and also batch inference as well. Okay, and then you have something called the matching engine. It's quite new. Okay, it's something called the scalable vector similarly search service. So it actually finds similar items based on vector representations. So there it is. You can use them for power recommendation engine and search functionalities. So there you go. Those are the deploy functions. And then you have the model monitoring, right? And something called explainable AI, which provides insight into how ML models make decisions. This is actually very, very interesting. Anyway, so there is a feature store. These are typical type of services that you'll probably find in other types of services too. But it's a centralized repository for storing, sharing, and serving ML features. And last but not least, you have the ML metadata. So this is a tool for managing metadata associated with the ML models. Okay. Then you have the pipeline. So pipeline is what you manage the automation and services and orchestrating the machine learning workflow. Okay, and then you have the notebook, right? So notebook are great tools, right, for Jupyter notebooks for interactive data analysis and ML model development. So there you go. So that is Vertex AI features. Okay, now let's take a look at Vertex AI and Gen AI. Right? So this is a graphics that I was able to find that Google has published. Okay? So if we're to now look at Vertex AI from the perspective of how do I use it to do the Gen AI development, okay? So I'm going to explain from the Google documentation how the flow goes. So very first one on the left is the prompt, right? So prompt, and you may know prompt as in prompt engineering and such, right? So Gen AI workflow typically starts from prompting. So prompt is basically simply a request sent to the Gen AI model to get some type of a response back from it. Okay, and depending on the model, you can have different types of prompt, which mainly the kind of prompt that I've been working on is just plain text. But there are some prompts that you can actually include images, okay, videos and audio documents as well. Okay, so that's how the prompt starts. Then the prompt is sent to the Google Cloud's responsible AI and safety layer. So this is where Google, I believe it has 7 principles related to the governance of responsible AI usage. So it's going to go through that layer. Okay, and if it's allowed to go through, then it's going to hit the foundation model. Now the foundation model are what accepts the prompt sent from the Gen AI for response generation. And some foundation models are Gemini and Gemini API. So this one has advanced reasoning uh, and code generation, right? Multimodal prompts, etc., which accept not just text but different types of data within the text. There may be Imagen API, so it's a image generation, image editing APIs. That's another model. Another one would be MedLM, so it's a medical question and answering and summarization model. So these are some examples of the foundation model that's available in this flow. Then you could definitely customize your model, as you see on the way to the right. You could customize the default behavior of Google's foundation model because foundations models are normally general. It's huge, but it's a general model, right? And if you need to have some consistency or perhaps more specification, right, specific type of model, then you could definitely do customization, right? So this customization process is called model tuning. So you could tune the model to be more appropriate for the type of question that you may be asking. Okay, and there are times where instead of training the model or getting the reply straight from the model, you can go ahead and augment the response from some external source, and this is sometimes called the request augmentation. So you have the request augmentation. Here they list 3 type of augmentation: grounding, RAG or RAG, and function calling. So grounding is usually grounding is called a source of truth. So this is perhaps your own data or the data that you get from the web search to help make sure that the answers that are coming back is accurate and not some type of a hallucinations, right, that the AI sometimes do. RAG is a augmentation of data from some external knowledge sources such as databases to provide more accurate and dynamically more informative responses. And then finally, you have a function calling so that you can have the model interact with some external APIs to get some real-time information for augmenting the response. Okay, so that's a little bit about the Vertex AI and Gen AI. Okay, so here, now let's go ahead and cover this tool called the Vertex AI Studio. Okay, so Vertex AI Studio is a development environment, okay, and with the using Vertex AI that really focus on the user experience for developing and managing machine learning models, right? So it provides many things. Mainly, it has the the Vertex AI has Vertex AI Studio as a enhanced user experience, and also Vertex AI also has a model garden. Okay, so it's all integrated. So it's a unified interface that actually brings together all the tools that you need to building, testing, and deploying ML models. Okay, and the AI Studio is the visual user interface for that. Okay. So the major difference between Vertex AI and Vertex AI Studio would be, I guess, plainly called scope, right? Because Vertex AI covers the entire ML lifecycle, okay, with a very broad range of tools and services, okay? While the AI Studio is very much about focusing on providing a great user-friendly development environment, okay? So it may not be a wide in scope, but it does very well in providing a very friendly user environment. Okay, so if we were to summarize it, Vertex AI actually provides a very comprehensive tools for infrastructure for machine learning, and the Vertex AI Studio offers a very streamlined, user-friendly interface, right, to make the development and managing ML model more intuitive, more efficient, more friendly. So there you go. Now, we did talk about a little bit about foundation models, and let's cover that topic. What is a foundation model? Okay, so foundation model in general, right? Foundation model is a large-scale machine learning models because it is based on a large corpus of data. Okay, trained in extensive and diverse data sets, very general in nature. So these models actually have the ability to generalize well across different tasks. And you can actually fine tune these things, as we discussed a little bit later, a little bit before, and you can make them really powerful for in the realms of generative AI, combining both the wide and general knowledge as well as ability to be tuned for more specific usage. Now, foundation models on Google Cloud, there are several. So let's take a look and see what are the current set of foundation models that are available on Google Cloud. Okay, so here we are, right? So here is the a list of the AI models that the Google currently are handling. So here, Gemini. Okay, so as you can see, largest model for very complex tasks. And there are other versions of Gemini. And there you go, right? Different types of Gemini. And then we also talk about PaLM. Okay, this is for the state-of-the-art language model with the multilingual and reason and coding capabilities, as they stated here. And there are others, right? Imagen, we've already kind of talked about that. Cody for generating code based on natural language processing, and more. And there are more, right? So, but I'm not going to cover everything. You could come to the site and see what is the latest and greatest models that are available as foundation model in Google Cloud. Alrighty. And we've already covered this, but this is just a review. And also, one of the options for the type of development you could do is actually use a pre-built solutions. And remember the slide that we talked about? This was in the data to AI slide, the last step, which was how do you apply AI and ML? Well, it's that part where I have highlighted the AI solutions. Okay, so I've talked about the document AI solution, contact center AI solution, Vertex AI search for retail, and healthcare data engine. So these were all the available pre-created solutions, right, for your industry. All right, now let's go ahead and move into the last section, which is a demonstration of building ML model with Vertex AI. Okay, so let's do a simple hands-on exercise using Vertex AI and Vertex AI Studio. Okay, I'm going to be using one of Google Cloud's free tutorial, and I highly suggest that you explore the type of free resources that Google Cloud offers so that you can learn about Vertex AI and Gemini specifically in this case. All right, so I hope you are seeing the top page to the lab. The first thing we're going to do is we'll do a couple things here. So what we'll do is we'll use Vertex AI to analyze an image. Okay, so first I need to enable Vertex AI API. So let me go ahead and do that right now. So hang on just a moment. So we'll go ahead and search Vertex AI. And there it is. And we'll go to Vertex AI API. Hang on. Let me see if I can actually see that. You know what? Let me go ahead and search this again. API. Okay, so Vertex AI API. All right, let's go there. All right, we're going to enable this. And let's give it a few seconds. All right, looks like it's enabled. So the first hands-on would be to create a multimodal prompt using text prompt with the image that's uploaded. Okay, so here we're going to go to, let me see here. Okay, so we'll go to artificial intelligence, Vertex AI, AI Studio, overview. And I'm going to click on Try Gemini. All right, so here we are. And let's go for, I'm going to name the project. Here we are. And name it, let's see, image analysis. All right. So I've actually already downloaded an image. So I'm going to be uploading that into this prompt area. So what I'll do is insert media and upload from computer. There is a image here. Let me show you what this image looks like. Okay, so what do you think it looks like? Right? Have you seen some of these at one of your airports already? All right, so check it out. And let me go ahead and close that. So the first prompt that I'm going to give, and let me expand this a little bit, is I'll say, hey, please title the image. Right? And then I will submit this. Okay, so let's see. It says, ta-da, flight board at the airport. What do you think? Right? All right, so now let's go ahead and ask something a little bit more involved. We'll say, title the image in 3 words. Okay, let's see. Title the image in 3 words. Okay, all right, so can you think of some? Let's submit. That was pretty quick. Airport departure board. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Totally met my expectations. Okay. But let's go and ask them the opposite question. That is, Give me a lot more details. Describe the image in detail. Let's see what happens here. And submit. Okay, 2 seconds. All right, so let's see. Let's read this. The image is of a close-up of a departure board at an airport. The board is made of black plastic and has a bright red LED display. The board lists the departure times of flights to various destinations, including Moscow, Edinburgh, London, Bucharest, Kiev, Dublin, etc. Okay? The board is illuminated from behind, creating a bright glow that highlights the red text. The board is set against a blurred background of an airport terminal. Oh my goodness. They got all that from this? Isn't that something? Anyway, all right. So totally, this is amazing. So now let's go ahead and ask it to extract some information, not just describe it. So let's say read the text in the image. All right, so let's see. Let's go ahead and submit that. And sure enough, look at that. But you know, it's kind of hard to read, right? Because they're all kind of chained together. So let's ask it to format it just a little nicer. So say parse the time and city in this image into a list with 2 columns, time and city. All right, let's go ahead and submit. Oh, much nicer. Look at that. Wow. But you know, let's ask it to do a little bit of more involved processing. All right, so here is the next prompt. Let's see if it can handle this. So here, all right, let's take a look. Calculate the percentage of the flights to different continents. Can you do that? Right? Can you do that? All right, so let's go ahead and check it out. Submit. Let's see. Oh, there are 10 flights mentioned in the image. 5 flights are to European destinations. 2 flights are to Asian destinations. 1 flight is to North America. Another one to Australia. And another one to Ireland. Therefore, 50% of the flights are to European destinations, 20% to Asian destinations, 10% to North America, 10% to Australia, and 10% to Ireland. I don't know, is that correct? Okay. Yeah, I'm not. I know some of these, but I don't know all of it. So I'm hoping that's correct. Okay. Now that I have this, I said, oh, this will do. So let's go ahead and save this prompt for later use. Yes, so let's see here. Let's see if we can save this. And I'll say, let's see, here's the menu for save. So save it. In this case, I need to save it to US East 4. US East 4, North Virginia. And let's save this. I think this is going to take a few seconds, so let's kind of hang in and wait. Okay, it looks like it's been saved. And let's check and see if it's actually been saved. Yeah, so I'm going to look for my saved prompts. And the way to do that is to click on multimodal and at the top, get started and my prompts. Looky there, there's my prompt, image analysis. Let me click on that and see what I get back. Ah, very nice, right? That's exactly as I saved it. And let's see if there's a couple more things that we can do. Let's see here. Yeah, so let's explore something. If you take a look at the right, notice the um, oh, I'm not sure if that was the region that I was supposed to be in. Let's see. Let me check. I think it's okay. Let's see here. Yeah, so here is something that we can control. This is actually called, tuning the parameter. And on your right, you see some parameters, and specifically see the one that says temperature. Let's see right there. Okay, the temperature right there. Okay. So temperature controls the amount of randomness in, replying back. So lower temperature is a good prompt that has less randomness, so you can expect a true or correct response. But higher temperature can lead to more randomness. So if you want something that's a little bit more creative, not necessarily accurate, but something that is, adding a little um, more flexibility, more diverse, unexpected results. Okay, so let's try with a temperature of 0. Okay, and let's see if it gives us anything different. So we'll give a same prompt, percentage. It shouldn't change, right? Okay, so here it goes. All right, so what does it come back with? Oh, look, it is different, isn't it? So what happened to North America? Right? The flight boards shows flight to Europe 10 and Asia 1. That's interesting. So 90.9% flights are to Europe and 90.1% are to Asia. I wonder what happens if we change the temperature going way on the other direction. So let's see. 2. All right, what kind of creative answer would this give us? Let's go ahead and submit. Okay, let's see. It is impossible to determine the percentage of flights to different continents based on this information. We lack the data on which the continent each city belongs to. Okay, so yeah, that's totally not what I was looking for. Right. And we'll just revert it back to 1 where we were originally, and we'll resubmit that and take a look and see if we get back the information. Yeah, sure enough. Oh, look, that's a little bit different, isn't it? Because before there were some in North America for sure, and I think there was actually one in Australia, right? But now it says based on this information, we can see the following. Oh, this is that little bit of randomness when it comes to working with um, these types of models. All right. So the next thing we'll do is instead of giving an image, let's give it audio file. Wouldn't that be great? So, and let's see if it actually extract information from an audio file. So it's a mystery audio file. Okay, so let's go ahead and check. Um, so first, I actually have to go and check out the bucket because that's where I'm going to place my audio file. So hang on just a moment. I'm going to go to cloud storage. So of course, this is the power of using Google Cloud's infrastructure. So cloud storage is a object storage. So I'm going to continue without saving. Yeah, continue without saving. Yes, please continue without saving. Okay, so we'll go to cloud storage. There should be a bucket for this exercise. And let's see. Yeah, sure enough, here's the bucket. Oh, sorry. Here is the bucket. And let me click on that. So that's the bucket, right? Here's the bucket information. So I'll be copying that in a moment. And I will use the Cloud Shell to copy a file into this area. All right, so Cloud Shell, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to open up the Cloud Shell. I believe it's going to come up and it says, yep, please continue. Got it. And I will be copying a file. Okay, hang on. That didn't work correctly, so hang on just a moment. Let's copy a file. Okay, so I'm going to be replacing some part of this. Let me make this bigger. As you can see, it says, look, G-Cloud storage copy, train.mp4, and I'm going to be replacing this with my bucket. So hang on. Copy the bucket information. There we go. And let us go in here. Oh, obviously that didn't work properly. And let's grab the bucket information. Bucket. Let's see. Copied. I don't trust this. So all right, so I guess I better trust it. Here we go. We'll copy it. And okay, so that's the bucket. And let's go ahead and run this. I'll authorize that. Oh, I'm sorry. Made a mistake. Sorry about that. There we go. It's still there. And yep, it's copying. There you go. Okay, so it looks like 6.3 megs. Alrighty, so now let's go back to Vertex AI Studio, shall we? Yep, sorry about that. So let's go do Vertex AI. Okay, Vertex AI. All right, so Vertex AI Studio. Overview. And try Gemini. And by the way, I'm going to get rid of this shell. I don't need it anymore. Okay. So once again, I'm going to insert media. but this time using the cloud storage that that we uploaded the file to. And sure enough, there's the bucket. And yep, there's that train.mp4 and select. So we have a train.mp4 inside the prompt. Now, I'm not sure if I can hear this, but let's give it a shot. Train.mp4. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to hear it, unfortunately. Okay, but looks like it's a sound of a train. And I'll say, okay, please title the video. Let's see if it comes up with something that we expect. Submit. Train passing by. Yeah, I'm not sure if I actually want to hear that. But all right. So there you go. Sorry, I can't play the sound. It's not coming up. But now you can see the power of Gemini multimodal, right? So initially we use the image. Now we use the audio. And it's able to look at that information, mixture of text and something else, and actually come out with the pretty decent response. Okay. Okay, I think that probably will give you an idea as to the power of this particular model, as well as the ease of use of Vertex AI Studio. Right? It looks nice and clean user interface. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. And let's get back to what questions you have. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Terumi. That was very informative. I know everyone is looking forward to the Q&A session, so go ahead and start putting your questions into the questions panel. And now I'd like to give the presentation rights over to Rimi, our vendor manager, to introduce our promotions and webinar-related courses.
Thank you, Tracy, and thank you, Jeremy, for this insightful session. I believe everyone must have learned something new today or would have been able to brush up their skills around the AI and machine learning technology on Google Cloud. So, firstly, I'm excited to announce that Netcom Learning is now an authorized training partner for Google Cloud, making us your go to destination for cloud skilling. With this milestone, we are proud to offer comprehensive training across the three leading cloud technologies globally: Microsoft Azure, AWS Cloud, and now Google Cloud. So, Netcom Learning, is your one stop shop for cloud skilling. I would also quickly like to take you through some of our hand picked resources, which we think will immensely help in accelerating your Google Cloud skilling journey. Well, this document here that I'm presenting has been shared with you all in the handout section of GoToWebinar panel. You can download this document and access all the resources and browse all the offerings we have curated for you. So, first up is the list of our recommended courses, which we feel will best suit your learning journey after attending our masterclass. So, all these courses here are hyperlinked. Feel free to go through them post event and check out the course descriptions and prerequisites and the value it can add to you and your team skill sets. Additionally, we have curated a blend of resources, including our upcoming and on demand events, as well as some informative and educational blogs. So you can make the most of these resources to gain extensive knowledge on the Google Cloud topics they cover. Now, next up, we are offering Google Cloud Fundamentals course, which is usually priced at $575, but we are offering this absolutely free of cost. So this is the full one-day course in which you and your teams will learn how to use Google Cloud services and tools effectively and gain a solid understanding of the core components of Google Cloud platforms. You will also get hands on practice through practical labs, allowing you to apply your new skills right away. So, this is a full day course, unlike our masterclasses and webinars. So, we have limited seats available for this, and you can request enrollment by clicking here on this button. So, submit your registrations to us as soon as possible, and our team will get back to you with the confirmations. Uh, Also, here I would like to inform you that today's masterclass session is being recorded. So, in case you want to refer back to any of the topics that were covered by the trainer today, we'll be sharing the recording link with you through emails, and also you can access the link here on the handout so that you can revisit the session and learn at your own pace. Now, apart from our virtual sessions, you can also catch all the relevant updates related to IT and business training on our social media handles. So please feel free to follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the latest updates. Our official pages and channels are linked here on the icons. Finally, if you have any suggestions regarding the topics you would like us to cover in our upcoming webinars and masterclasses, please don't hesitate to send us a direct message or leave a comment on our social media posts, or you can just simply email us at google@netcomlearning.com. We would definitely try to come up with the sessions on your suggested topics. Thank you once again for joining us today. You guys have a good one. Thank you.
Thanks so much for guiding us through that information, Remy. And now we're going to go ahead and jump right into our question and answer session. Our first question is, what types of data are best suited for machine learning models on Google Cloud?
Yeah, thank you for that question. In fact, I think I've covered a little bit of it in the webinar, but Google Cloud has the ability to take in almost any type of data. As you saw on the hands-on for the Vertex AI Studio, it's able to use the object storage, which will accept any type of data. But I guess you're asking for what is the best type, right, of data? Not everything, but obviously the two types of data that is pretty common is structured data. So the structured data is something like spreadsheet data, customer information, something that looks more like a database type of data, right? Specifically, a relational database, right? So that would be that. So structured data is commonly used. Now these days, there seems to be more unstructured data than structured data. So unstructured data is totally fine. This includes data that doesn't really have a predefined format or structure, things like email text. How about social media posts or like blog articles? These are just fine as well. And you've seen cases, right, of AI using image data like photos, um, let's say medical images, right? How about satellite images? So these are fine as well. And other types of data, such as video data, audio data, right? You saw that in the hands-on exercise, I uploaded the audio data. And with the Vertex AI multimodal prompt, it was able to understand I guess heard the audio data and suggested some replies to my question, which was, hey, come up with a great title for this, right? And other things are something like maybe time series data, right? Probably from like sensors. And yeah, so I think these are all great data sources for machine learning models on Google Cloud. I hope that answers your question.
Second question in the queue is, can you share some real-world examples or case studies of successful AI and machine learning projects on Google Cloud?
In the webinar, I referred you to one site that Google has, the Google Success customer success stories on using Gen AI on Google Cloud. But let me refer you to another site. It's a little bit more generic, but success stories of Google Cloud customers using AI, not just Gen AI, but AI in general. So hang on just a moment. Let me find that site. So here it is. So this is a, let's see, what is the site's name? Google Cloud Customer Stories and Case Studies. So this might be what you're looking for. And on your left-hand side, you can choose the products and categories. So I've selected the AI and machine learning for you. So here it is. Like, okay, let's take a look at Uber. Right? We'll take this one example. It says Uber uses AI agents to help support their teams better. help support their customers and to help their employees to be more productive. I know. Let's take a look. Okay, it's going to be a video. Forget that. Anyway, so you see some of these companies like Walmart uses Gemini to enrich their data. That is to add and make data more meaningful for that context and improve millions of product listing across their sites. Okay, so you recognize some of these customers: Wayfair, Wendy's, eBay. These are the ones that I recognize. There you go. So check out these user stories. I think they're very, very, helpful and informative, and see how you can actually, become successful using these products.
And finally, our last question is, what programming languages and tools are supported for developing AI and machine learning models on Google Cloud?
Thank you for that. I think the typical one that a lot of people use is Python. Obviously, Python is fully supported in Google, and you saw some of these tools, right? That Google has created. And these are mostly Python libraries. R is another good one because R is usually used by a lot of data scientists for statistical analysis and also machine learning. Now, Java is also fine. Java is often used in the enterprises, right? And it's also supported by machine learning framework like other frameworks that are available in Google Cloud. And another, if I were to think of another language, probably Golang, because it is also commonly used. And the performance is very high and efficiency is very good, especially in the production environment. So yeah, so these languages, right? Python, R, Java, and Go probably are representative languages. The tools. Well, if we're talking about deep learning, right? So let's take something like TensorFlow, scikit-learn definitely, right? Okay, and the Vertex AI, the demonstration that you saw, so that is a good one. And BigQuery ML, which allows you to create and execute machine learning models using SQL queries in BigQuery. So I believe these are some nice tools and framework. AutoML too, right? You saw that it's included in Vertex AI, but close to no code for you to solve some AI problems. Okay, so thank you for all those questions. I hope you enjoyed and got some good information from the webinar. And I wish you good luck in your journey in using Google Cloud and its vast array of AI and Gen AI products. Thank you so much, and hope to see you again soon. Bye.
Once again, I want to remind you that as you leave this session today, you will be presented with a short survey. We would like to request for you to help us by taking a quick moment to participate in that survey. Your feedback really helps us understand your learning experience as we are constantly looking at how we can improve our future sessions. The survey answers are measured on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 representing outstanding and 1 representing poor. We want to thank all of you for joining us today, and if you do come up with any additional questions, feel free to send them to webinar@netcomlearning.com at any time. We hope that you found today's webinar informative, and we look forward to seeing you back here with us soon. Feel free to tell your friends and colleagues about our webinars and other courses. Have a great day, everyone.